fulfilling the Sharia requirement. So now coming back to the point, what I understood is that the whole globe should sight it in 2 days maximum, if not 1 day. So 3 days and 4 days differences is because those other 2 days are wrong. Where is this wrong coming from? So this led us to the research, and we found that the wrong or the mistake is being created by the people who make lunar calendars who follow as a civil calendar. Most of us, we follow the solar calendar based on January, February, right? But the lunar calendar, some countries in Asia or in the Middle East, they follow the lunar calendar. But the Sharia's requirement is sighting of the moon to begin the ibadat, whereas these people, they cannot create schedule of their airplane flights or their TV programs or their pension calculations based on when the moon will be sighted. They have to pre-calculate it for civil purposes. So they need a method, and they decided they want to do based on the lunar. So that is why they have pre-calculated lunar calendars. Now, Saudi Arabia is not only one. We tend to discuss this because of Haramain Sharif, and we tend to follow the announcement for other countries like Egypt also have lunar calendars, and so Libya also has their own version of it, and they have different criteria. So I found that it was these lunar calendars are biasing the witness. Now, this is the important point. I don't think it been pointed out by any discussions here. Everybody knows that our ibadah is based on sighting of the moon by the naked eye. Okay, some people think even if you with telescope, this is coming from the Middle Eastern ulama nowadays. But most people say, most ulama agree that it should be by the naked eye. So we'll put aside what the observatory says and what the calculation says. We will take the ruling from the naked eye. Now, although the Middle Eastern countries, they follow the lunar calculated calendar for civil purposes, they do try to follow the naked eye for the few months which relates to the ibadat, like Shaban, Ramadan and Hajj. And this is also the case with the Saudi government, as far as I understood from my communication a number of years ago. I corresponded with King Abdulaziz University of Science and Technology, short for CAST, and the computer science department there actually produced the Qura calendar, of which the whole country runs. And I said, do you go and observe the moon every month for Islamic purpose? They said no, everything runs on the pre-calculated calendar. However, 4 of the months in the year, we do ask the public to give the announcement, and based on their witnesses, the Qazi will decide. Now, the problem is that, as Maulana Samiruddin has rightly said, and this is proven from information from different sources, around the globe, from not one sources. The ulama and the scientists in Saudi also will tell you that this pre-calculated calendar is not a secret. They will also say the announcement they make on TV and newspaper for asking the people to go and look for the moon is based on the 29th day of that calendar, or the 28th day to go and look for it 29th. Now, because it is running day and a half in advance, it biases the psychology of the person with a high expectation that we're going to sight it the first day. See, now that day can be, because the pre-calculated calendar is running day and a half early, and it is asking the people to go and look for it. They go and look for it on the 28th days of the month instead of 29th or 30th. And sometimes they get witnesses that people have sighted when it is impossible to have sighted. Now, science, some of the ulama brotherhood might disagree with me. I consider science is the law of Allah. Quran is the word of Allah, and the law of nature, law of science is the law of Allah. The word of Allah cannot contradict the laws of Allah. Either we have misunderstood or we have misinterpreted. Okay. Now I believe the sun and the moon is orbiting, والشمس والقمر بحسبان, they are orbiting with perfect precision. And all the scientists will tell you they don't even delay by a second from their movement. Now, there are computerized telescope. I am a member of the Astronomical Society in New York, and we have computerized telescope. We can just, because it has GPS built in, it knows the location, and they have to calibrate it by looking at a known star, and then you tell it, go and find that star, and it will just automatically go and look at it, and you can look into it. And moon is one of the easiest one to see because it is the nearest star, and it is very, very big. And it is easiest one, even if we can't see it easily because of haziness or cloudiness. Can be
2 minutes, 2 minutes please,
right. So what I found is that because the witnesses are being biased, they are getting wrong witnesses. Now I know one of the our ulama brother here mentioned about these Bari students. This was a time when I was doing this research. So I wrote to the observatory, in fact giving them a challenge. He says, I will donate this amount of money to charity of your choice if you can prove to me that these witnesses are wrong. Instead of they answering the challenge, they send me a pack of information of research. The gist of it is that there was a moon watch program run by a magazine called Sky and Telescope, and in which they found that there were about 5 to 10% of the people who reported sighting of the moon, they were in errors. So there are positive errors, there are negative errors. So people can be mistaken, and sometimes there are other things in the sky. This is not clear in the sky like it was in the old days. Now there are a lot of junk in the sky, and sometimes some stars very close to the moon can be mistaken. So people can be mistaken. This was their answer to me. Now what I say is that we should try to find a solution that unite the people to one day, so that all this non-Muslim, they don't look at, and also we have the benefit, we can organize our holidays in advance so our children don't have exams on a Eid day and things like that. So really we should be sincere in this regard and find a platform where we can put aside our differences. And one final thing before I finish, brother, this fuqaha gave their ruling in the days when Islamic spread was very limited to the equator. If you look in the history of all the imams, near the equator, where we have normal sunrise, normal sunset, moonrise, moonset, everything is easy to see. We have spread over some 100 or recent years above high latitude over the hemisphere, where the condition is abnormal, and therefore those rulings will not fit perfectly. We need our ulama to go and do ijtihad and find ruling for the present time, for the present circumstance.